Hi guys, hope all of us are doing great. My name is Ernest and this is Ernest Sciences and Mathematics TV channel. So today we're going to look at the difference between even and odd functions. And in our video, our introductory video to the concept of functions, I will say that basically a function is a law or rather a rule that creates the relationship between what we call an independent and dependent variable. And we're going to see that the relationship that is going to exist between the independent and dependent variable are going to vary in a sense that we can be able to have two distinct ways in which we can classify this specific relationship, whereby they are going to fall under the category of either even or odd function. Now, generally for an even function, we're going to see that a function y f of x can be even if for every value of x in the domain of fx, we are going to have f negative x being equivalent to the function of x given as such. So therefore, whenever we have a function that is going to obey this specific condition for the value for the function of fx, then therefore we are going to classify that one under the concept of an odd function. Now we're going to create a distinction between this odd and even function, whereby we're going to have an odd function for a function y is equals f of x is going to be referred to as an odd function if for every value over x in the domain of f of x, we're going to have this specific value for f negative of x being equivalent to the negative value of the function of x being given as such. So this is going to create a distinct feature between the even and odd functions respectively. So if you try to give it in terms of a graphical way, this specific illustration that I've just mentioned is an algebraic way in which we can be able to create a distinction between even and odd function. So if we try to give it in a graphical way, we're going to see that for even functions, for instance, the graph of y is equals x squared, we can be able to give this one as xy. We're going to see that for this specific graph for even functions, they are going to be symmetrical at the origin, and therefore we can be able to create a distinction between what we call even and odd functions, whereby we're going to see that for odd functions, they are going to, of course, have this specific aspect of so basically this is right. So this is going to be symmetrical along the y-axis, while for odd functions these are going to be symmetrical along the origin. So I indicated some of the functions of graphs of trigonometric functions. For instance, I can give a graph of this specific nature, whereby we're going to have this graph indicated as such, whereby if we try to perform a flip, then we're going to still to remain at this specific point for this graph that is showing the symmetry at the origin. Perhaps we're going to have an elaborate illustration of this specific graph whenever we're going to do graphs of trigonometric functions. But for a summary, I've given one of the displays that I'm going to put a link in the description box that is going to assist us to distinguish between different graphs of trigonometric functions that we have looked at in one way or another for odd and even functions. So therefore, first say that we can be able to distinguish between even and odd functions using an algebraic ways, whereby we say that for even functions, we're going to have the graph, or rather the relationship that is going to exist, whereby the function of x is equivalent to f negative x given as such. And for odd functions, we are going to have this specific function being given as negative the function of x given as such. So this is an algebraic way in which we are going to represent these particular functions for odd and even functions as I've indicated. Number two, we can be able to use a graphical way of trying to create a distinction between these even and odd functions. And that can be achieved, of course, through noting this specific characteristic whereby even functions are going to have graphs which are symmetrical with respect to the y-axis. And for odd functions, the graphs are going to be symmetrical at the, or rather, are going to be symmetrical at the origin, giving these specific general examples as I've indicated. So basically, we're going to, one of the practice videos, we're going to do some of the functions and see whether they fall under the category of even or odd functions. And that is going to, of course, to complement on this specific video and try to assist us understand the difference between the two. So that is it for now, guys. Catch us in our next video where we're going to look at specific examples on the odd and even functions respectively. So that is it for now, guys. Bye. God bless.